Kids say some of the funniest things. I'm sitting out on my patio. It's a pretty cool place. See, it looks it's out here in the middle of the woods, where I live, which is kind of cool. And you can hear the night sounds of Mississippi in the late summer, early fall. Kids just say funny stuff. My youngest daughter one time didn't get a piece of candy that she wanted whenever her mother had carried her to the store. She started crying and she wanted a piece of candy. She's spoiled, you know how kids are. So she starts yelling and my wife says, "No, I'm not giving you that candy." And she starts yelling to everybody in the store, "This is not my mommy, this is not my mommy." And Tammy's got her by the hand and pulling her to the car, Nowadays she probably would be, everybody jump on her. My oldest daughter one time told her teacher they were having a discussion on drinking and driving, and she told her teacher and the class that her daddy drinks and drives every day on his way to work at the church. And so the teacher asked me about it one day, and sure enough, I was able to tell her it was coffee, right? But I remember being told a story about myself that I was 3 years old, and well, I think I may have been 4. And I'd gone to church with my grandparents and my parents. We kind of went to church with them one Sunday and just had a great time, hanging out with family. And I remember my grandparents. I have lovely memories of them, good people. But this church was a big church, and there were lots of people there. And this pastor, from what I understand, I don't remember this, but from what I understand, he was very repetitive. And he was preaching a sermon asking people, "Do you trust Jesus?" So he's up there and he's preaching and he's going, "Do you trust Jesus, brothers and sisters? Do you trust Jesus?" And then he would preach a little bit and he would come back and he said, "But do you trust Jesus, brothers and sisters?" And then he would preach some more and then he would come back to it. "Do you trust Jesus, brothers and sisters?" And they said that I stood up in the pew and I shouted out, "Well, do you?" The whole church falls out, laughing. My parents could have crawled up under the pew, and my grandfather, they said, was just cracking up. He thought it was the funniest thing ever. That brings me to this point that I want to share with you, and I think it's cool that it's the end of the day, and I'm tired, and I've been working, at a job, normal everyday work, right? I don't work at a church anymore. I go to work just like anybody else. I work in a hardware store. I wonder how many times we depend on the preacher to do the work of the church. We depend on him to be the one to tell people about Jesus. We depend on him to be the one to go and visit the sick. We depend on the preacher to be the one we take our children to so that he can tell our children how to be saved. And so many times I think as Christians, we miss a blessing by being able to tell people and being able to share with people, being able to be real Christian people in front of folks in our everyday life and be able to share Jesus and not have to depend on the preacher to do it. How silly is it that we pay a man to come do this and we're like, okay, well, that's the preacher's job. That is baloney. That is so stupid for us to do that. And shame on us whenever we have that mental attitude. Shame on us for that, because God has given each and every one of us a job to do. Right now, I am tired, but I want to tell you something. Even at work, I live my faith. And it's been a hard road, because there are things that happen at work. There are people around me at work that make it difficult. There is lots of stuff going on that make it difficult. But I want you to know, I try to be real at work. I hope that my coworkers, and I feel like they would talk to you if you were here and tell you that I try to be real. I don't depend on other people to come in there and do my work at my job, right? So why do we depend on someone else, a preacher, to do God's work in our community? Be the same person on a Tuesday morning that you are on a Sunday. Be the same person on a Friday night. Ooh, Friday night. Be the same person on a Friday night that you are on a Sunday morning. Be real. As a young child, I didn't have any hesitation. I stood up, and when he was preaching, "Well, do you?" I stood up and I said, "Well, do you?" Right? Get involved. Do something for God in his kingdom, even if you're in a hardware store. Do something wherever you are to be what God wants you to be and to share his word. And don't depend on Pastor Bob. Don't depend on me. Don't depend on anyone else to do your job, because God has something for you. I tell you, folks, I'm tired. You know, it's time to take my hair down. It's time to go get a shower. It's time to, oh, I'm ugly too. Golly. But it's the end of a day. And when I stop and I put my feet up at the end of this day, and I think to myself, you know, it's been a good day. It's been a good day. And I'm tired because I put in a good, strong, hard day's work. And the people that I've worked with have seen me live Jesus in front of them. Do it too. You can do it.